Bitter baby dads. They do exist. As much as I can't stand a bitter baby mom, a bitter baby dad ain't no better. I urge you guys to find some business to mind. Find a way to have happiness and joy that doesn't come at the expense of somebody else's pain. Because I promise you, the tighter you hold on to all that bitterness, all that rage, all that envy, the tighter it holds on to you. If I gave in to the natural tendencies in dealing with a personality of this type, I'd be out for the count. What a narcissist does is they're ruthless. They will go to great lengths to be the hero or to be the victim. They are amazing at gaslighting. They're amazing at making you think you are the crazy person in the situation. So it's a lot more insidious than somebody that's super boastful and braggadocious. It's finding a way to direct the attention to themselves in every situation. Therapy helped me a lot with this. I had to be like, hey, I'm checking in. Am I the crazy one? Because at a certain point, you can't tell what is fiction and what is fact, because they are so engulfed in their delusion that you're like, ain't no way this can't be true. Like, they are living out this story. I'm not going to make a scene. There's nothing that you can do, officer. I understand. You go ahead and make that report, and I'll be on my merry way. So he goes ahead. He makes the report, comes back and, he also said, by the way, he had you trespassed off the property. So I'm going to need you to move your car to the road. You're not allowed to be on this property anymore, or you could be arrested. And I said, oh. I'm here to pick up my daughter per our court-ordered parenting plan, which we have been doing like clockwork 2 times a week for the past 2.5 years, and I'm kicked out of his driveway? That's legal? Apparently. So anyways, I pull off onto the road in front of his house, and I basically asked the officer, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave, but what does this mean for seeing my daughter? What do I need to do to be able to get you guys to enforce it, or what am I supposed to do about ever seeing my daughter again if he's not allowing me here to pick her up? Like, what are my options here? They said, well, first, you're probably just going to have to take this to the judge. It's not going to look good on his part, but you're going to have to file it with them because this is a civil matter. We cannot forcibly remove a child from the home without something called a break order. I looked it up, and that's not every county. Apparently, this law just changed in the county that he's in. A break order is the order that they have to literally break down a door, which typically happens when there are extreme circumstances, somebody that's being abused or, life and death situations, not just a bitter ass baby dad. So, all right, understood. So got the reports. He's like, yeah, got everything, got body cam. So all this stuff is recorded. Our conversation with you, our conversation with him. You're welcome to access all of this stuff. I said, cool beans. So I go ahead, get in my car. Oh, also he said, that agreement that y'all made to switch weekends, he's choosing not to honor that at this point. And so that basically means that it's rightfully his weekend right now. It's still his weekend technically. So he said, yeah, probably don't do that anymore. And also just ask him the next time that it's time for you to pick her up if he'll release her to you, and see what he says. I said, okay, well, that's super encouraging. So I drive back home, and because he has decided that he's not going to honor the swap that we made, the one that he asked for so he could go to that funeral, that means that, okay, if it's your weekend now, then that means I pick her up at 5 p.m. on this day. So I text him, I say, hey, since you've decided not to honor our swap, that means that I pick her up today at 5. Will you release her to me if I drive back there? At which point he tells me that if I come back there, I will be arrested, which isn't how it works. I don't have to be on his property. I can still be right off his property and collect my daughter lawfully. But either way, there's no point in me driving again, another 30, 45 minutes up here just to be left outside, iced out. So I said, okay. And I went ahead and I just continued to document his refusal to comply and release my daughter to me. Now I'm just kind of going frantic, y'all, because I've never been in this situation. I don't know how it escalated so quickly. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I knew he didn't want me picking her up when he thought I was positive. I just knew for sure though. That once I told him I was negative, it would squash all the bullshit. As a matter of fact, my best friend was like on the phone with me, and I was like, oh gosh, I don't even want to tell him, but at the same time, I don't want to cause no issues. Let me just let him know that I tested negative so it can squash all this. So, because if he were to still give me problems after that, then he's obviously just doing the absolute most. Well, I don't know why I forgot that my ex-husband is a fucking character. And doing the absolute most is all that he seems to know how to do. And so this is the situation that ensued. So I ended up going for, oh yeah, let me just tell you how it went. So he didn't allow me to pick up my daughter. So I then continued to contact him day after day after day after that, asking him if he would release my daughter to me. And things got just progressively worse. So first he said, no, you can come and pick her up at Publix. Nigga, why the fuck am I picking my daughter up at Publix? What is the difference between me picking her up outside of your house and me picking you up outside of a fucking grocery store, sir? Like, what are you doing? You're not going to catch COVID from me by opening the door and ushering her out to me. All you have to do is say, go to mommy. You don't have to even be within 10 feet of me. Like, social distancing, we're outside, my nigga. What the fuck? So anyways, the bigger issue was the fact that our parenting plan, the court-ordered agreement, mandates that we pick her up outside of the residence. Whether it's his house or my house, wherever the child is, we pick her up outside the residence. That's what we've been doing. Occasionally, we've allowed the exchange to happen at a daycare. However, that is not what is mandated by the courts. And now that he has shown me that he can choose to honor our agreement or not at will, I've been advised not to do anything outside of the agreement by both that police officer as well as my legal team. And so now, while I wouldn't have had a problem meeting at the Publix, even though it's asinine, it's unnecessary, I would have done it if it weren't for the fact that he's acting crazy. And I can no longer, we can't do these we can't just do these things no more, outside arrangements. So anyways, I let him know, hey, I got to pick her up at your house. That's what it says in the agreement. I'm not going off script no more. That got me in a bad way last time. I'm not doing it. The next time I ask, if you want to see your daughter, you can pick her up at the police station. Now we at the goddamn police station? For what? For why, sir? Why are you doing all this? Like, there's absolutely no history of violence, no history of threats, COVID negative. What the fuck are you pretending to be afraid of? But again, he does the most, and that's been that. And so he proceeded to refuse to allow me to pick her up from his house, which is the only thing that the court order allows. I did not see my daughter for 9 days. And on that 9th day, the only reason that I did see her is because he texted me that morning, she's at daycare. There was no agreement. There was no conversation. He didn't know if I was in town, out of town, or dead, because he refused to reach out to me. He refused to answer any text calls or whatever. And so my initial response was, nigga, you just abandoned your goddamn daughter. Ain't nobody say that I was going to pick her up at daycare. Like, again, that's against the rules. You can't force me to do something that is not with the rules. And although I had no problem actually picking her up from daycare, if he was sane, I no longer could do that. And so I reached out to my lawyer, and I actually told him he should probably reach out to his, because what he's doing is against the fucking rules. I'm such a, rule follower, and he's absolutely not, which makes a terrible situation for me. But anyways, I said, yeah, I'm going to reach out to my lawyer to see what the implications are of me picking her up from daycare, because that's not what we agreed to, and you're not allowed to force me. But anyways, my lawyer just basically was like, he's being an asshole, but also just get your baby and document that, and we'll take care of it later in court. So I said, you know what? Okay. I was thrilled to see you know how much it takes for me to be thrilled to see my daughter. Not that I don't like her ass, but parenting be tough and it be exhausting, and I get really excited for my time away, my free time to kind of recharge and reset and everything. I had too many reset days. Like when I expected to go and get my daughter and I didn't, by day number 2 I was a hot ass mess. I was a wreck. Like, I'm never going to see my baby again. And I kept on thinking back to the guys that I know that have been dealing with this same fucking situation, because what I'm going through, as tragic as it is, it's not unique to me. Most often, there is a guy sitting in the chair that I'm sitting in that is dealing with a woman that refuses to allow him to see his child for whatever reason. And because they weren't married at the time that they had that child, that father has no fucking rights. No fucking rights. And she can do whatever the hell she wants and refuse him any type of contact or relationship with his child. The guy that I was talking to at the time that we were talking was on month 2 of fighting through the courts, trying to get to be a fucking father to his son. And I remember just asking him, like, oh, you gonna, FaceTime him or whatever, video chat him. And he would just be like, it hurts too much. When you don't know how long it's gonna be before you see your child, video chat is fucking torture. And I really understood it at this point, because while I don't even know if my ex would have allowed a video chat at this point, because again, he was not answering any kind of communication. But the idea of looking at my daughter through a screen, knowing that the person that's on the other side of that screen that's holding it is the one that is holding my daughter hostage from me, and she doesn't have a clue, but I do. That is cruel and unusual punishment, to say the least. And so I found myself kind of trying to channel all my inner baby daddy. And when I say that, I mean the baby fathers that are dealing with this fucking psychopath baby mom that is getting in the way of them having a successful relationship with their child. And the thing that I've learned from a lot of these fathers is how to be savage, how to turn off that part of your heart that should never have to turn off. Having to pour yourself into every other fucking thing to distract you from the immense pain at the insane amount of injustice that is happening. What kind of a man denies his child the right to be with his mom? Like, I mean, a sane mom, a loving mom, a show the fuck up mom. I'm not perfect, but I'm a good goddamn mom, right? And I've never even questioned his ability to father. But this shit right here, like, you have to be a psychopath. Something is not right. You can't be happy. You cannot possess joy and do something like this at the same time. And to think that my ex called himself a Christian, it escapes me, y'all. It escapes me. It is so extremely difficult to believe that we serve the same God. And as of right now, I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. But yeah, so I went 9 days without seeing my daughter, mostly because the time clock started prior to him denying me access, because I had already given up my weekend and already had fewer days with her prior than I usually would have had. So it ended up being this long ass stretch, and I'm, reaching out to the police station and the officers and the deputies and all this other stuff, and lawyer after lawyer, consultation after consultation, to find out what is the best way forward. Because the fact that this, although it is against the rules, who the fuck is going to enforce it? And the kicker was, when I'm going to the courts to get this on record, the time frame that I'm quoted that it will take to get a judge to get a judge's eyes on it. 2 to 6 months just to get a judge to see it. I about died, y'all. I about died. I said, so until then, I have to pray that this little raggedy ass nigga has mercy on me and allows me to see my daughter, just to get somebody to enforce the fucking rules that are already in place. Like, when I was able to see exactly how unfucking useful our justice system is, it made me sick to my stomach. And that's when I started like, okay, this is when you want to, let me not even say that. This is when you want to take the law into your own hands. There's got to be another way around it. There's got to be a loophole. How loud do I have to scream? Who do I have to scream at in order to get someone to hear? This is that shit from John Q, where it's like, the way to do this, the proper way, the lawful way to do this, doesn't get shit done. So what pray tell do I need to do in order to actually get justice? I'm not looking for a handout. I'm not looking for anything but what is rightfully mine. I've done a lot of things during this divorce process. I've had to grow a lot in my desire for control, and recognizing, one, that as long as she's happy and healthy and loved, that whatever is happening in his household is not my business. I've learned to deal with that. And that's no easy feat, especially for your firstborn, your only child that's still an infant or a toddler. Like, that is insanely difficult to do. And I have mastered that shit. But denying me the right to see my child on my time, that's a different level. That's a different level of fuckery that I'm not prepared to accept, right? And so since then, I've been back and forth, just trying to balance not escalating the situation, but also not allowing it to go undocumented. Because what I know now is that my ex is a narcissist. And I know that term be out here just freely given, y'all. And so I was hesitant to actually label him that. And I still don't have an actual diagnosis from a whole person, y'all. But if he's not that, he's something extremely fucking close. Close enough that I can study the behavior and actions and mindsets of a narcissist, apply it to him, and be spot fucking on every time. And so whatever he is, I'm grateful that there's a name that I can associate it with so that I can learn how to fucking deal with him. Because if I gave in to the natural tendencies of most people in dealing with a personality of this type, I'd be out for the count. Because what a narcissist does, first of all, they are insane. They are charismatic. They can really get people to believe that they are just pure joy, fun, and just all the good things, right? They are chronically victims. In every situation, they are the victim. So it's not the Donald Trump level of narcissism where it's like, I'm great, I'm the best. No, it's the, how could this person do this to me? Nigga, ain't nobody think about you in this situation. How the fuck did you make it about you? That is it. So it's a lot more insidious than somebody that's super boastful and braggadocious. It's quiet. It's finding a way to direct the attention to themselves in every situation, whether it's good or it's bad. The other thing about them is they're ruthless. They will go to great lengths to be championed, to be the hero, or to be the victim. But they will never be the enemy. They will never be the bad guy in their minds. It is always about them, whether somebody is hurting them or they are saving someone. But it's never them as the actual evildoer. As a matter of fact, they do their very best to make the other person the evil person. They try to sabotage your character. They try to sow doubt into people about you. They they are amazing at gaslighting. They are amazing at making you think you are the crazy person in the situation. So much so that I literally had to go to so during the divorce process, therapy helped me a lot with this. Like, there's so many times that I would be like, and even before therapy, talking to my best friend, like, I had to be like, hey, I'm checking in. Am I the crazy one? Or is he acting out? Like, because at a certain point, you can't tell what is fiction and what is fact, because they are so engulfed in their own fucking fantastical world, their delusion, that you're like, ain't no way this can't be true. Like, they are living out this story. It has to be true. So I found myself so many times asking that question, and being able to get out of that relationship. I was able to see it so much clearer. Like, oh my God, I was in here whole ass drinking this goddamn Kool-Aid this entire time. I was too close to be able to see the full picture. But once I got out, I could. And in the past couple weeks, past couple days, whatever, I found myself getting sucked in. I kept on looking up, okay, what are the characteristics of a narcissist? Like, let me start to understand what I'm really dealing with, if this is really him. And the more and more I read, I'm like, shit, am I the narcissist or is he the narcissist? Are we both narcissists? And the reason that I couldn't tell is because, again, they do such a good job at making you the evil person and them being the victim, that you're like, wait, was I going after him all this time? No, I'm pretty sure that, like, I wasn't going after him. He was coming after me. I had to sit down there and organize my thoughts and say, Alexis, where did this start? And if he didn't do this, were you doing something to go after him, or were you just minding your own fucking business? Y'all, I had to reach out to my therapist. It's actually the old therapist that he and I shared when we were together. I had to reach back out to her just to say, hey, am I a narcissist? Am I out here deceiving myself to think that I'm okay, and I'm really out here deceiving people? Like, please, just woman to woman. I know I'm not perfect. I know I got issues. I know I got control issues. Am I the crazy person in this situation? And I literally needed her to validate the fact that I'm not crazy, that I'm going through a hell of a time with this dude, and that he is obviously going through something, which this has been said by just about every person that I know that knows him really and truly. And she even let me know, like, he just could not receive any level of criticism or flaws in himself. He just couldn't. It makes sense though. He is the story of the little black boy that fought against all odds and made it out and made something out of himself. Like, he is the man's man, the people's champion. Like, he is the success story in, like, his family, his neighborhood. Like, he is that person that everybody kind of looked up to and rallied around. And so for him, that's what he needs. And then when he gets around somebody like me, I remember when we were together, he always had this, like, terrible, like, self-image and self-esteem when he was around, I want to say my friends, other well-to-do people of color. Every time he was around them, he felt as though they were looking down on him. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, everybody loves when you're around you. You're so charismatic, so much fun. They love you. You're just like, what do you mean? You're just like them. And he just could not see himself as on the same level as these other people, other black people that literally live the same story, you know? And it was because anytime he's so used to being the only one that has a success story, that when he sees others, it casts a shadow on him that he can't take. He can't take it at all. It drives him batshit crazy. It's like, no, because this is my spot. I'm in the spotlight. There is no room for anybody else in my story. So get out. You don't exist, blah, you know? And so recognizing how much he depends on this narrative to be upheld, how much how detrimental I am, just me existing and all of my black excellence, how detrimental I am to his narrative, and that he will go to any lengths to make that not true, at least in his world, at least in the people that surround him that feed into that narrative. He has to keep that true. And so there are many ways in our relationship that he fought to keep that the narrative. That was why he needed so much affirmation from me, validation from me. He many times got in the way of my success, my career. He needed me to lift him up on a pedestal while he kind of kept his foot on my neck. Because he couldn't have me being the success story in our life. It had to be him. Y'all, never would I have understood this in that marriage. But also, never did I expect this outside of the marriage. But y'all, here I am, and I am seeing this stuff so fucking clearly, and it is just a shame. So, back to this this girlfriend of his, right? So, like I said, he waited an entire 2 years. He sat on this information. And the way I see this is his intent, like a true narcissist, he wanted so badly to fuck me up in the mind with that news, Who else sits on this information for 2 fucking years when it would be so beneficial to your daughter for me to be building a relationship with your girlfriend, so that when you do move in with her, it's just, oh, wow, I'm so happy for you guys. I'll bring you a fucking housewarming gift. But no, instead, he waits until the very last minute to give me absolutely zero time to respond, that I have to react immediately in the hopes, I believe, that he would throw me off of my composure. But what he didn't expect is I'm built different. And the God that I serve did that for a reason. He knew who the fuck I was going to be up against. And the way that I'm able to compose myself, and many times it's definitely thrown people off, because it makes people feel like, damn, do you even feel things? Oh, I feel things very deeply, very, very deeply. But I also don't allow that deep feeling to fuck me up in the long run. Meaning, as deep as I felt that feeling of betrayal when he waited to the last minute to tell me about his ex, there was no good in me sabotaging my relationship with him or her, because who do I care about most? My daughter. And so whatever the fuck I felt, swallow that shit and do what you need to do. And so I think that my response to the situation being so fucking good, it ate him the fuck up. Because ever since then, he's been on this shit. I didn't tell you guys about another situation that happened prior to the whole not letting me see my daughter thing. But there was a moment that I even reached out to my friend. I was like, am I crazy, or does it seem like he's snapping? Like he's making a big deal out of something. Now, my friend was able to convince me that it was just a miscommunication. And I do believe her. However, a miscommunication with a rational person is not the same thing with him. This was him trying to force me into that narrative of his, that I am the unreasonable person, that I am the evil person, that I am not the success story that I am in reality, that I am not the success story that overshadows him, because again, that narrative cannot exist in his world. And so he has to go through everything he can to make sure that is not a truth that he has to ever recognize or acknowledge. And so, bitter baby dads, they do exist. And so do bitter baby moms. And as much as I can't stand a bitter baby mom, a bitter baby dad ain't no fucking better. I urge you guys to find some fucking business to mind. Find a way to have happiness and joy that doesn't come at the expense of somebody else's pain. Because I promise you, the tighter you hold on to all that bitterness, all that rage, all that envy, the tighter it holds on to you. And now, instead of just finding happiness and allowing somebody else to be happy, you bring both of you down in the same ship that nobody even was on. Like, we don't even have to be on this goddamn boat. Like, go and run free, because that's what I'm trying to do. So y'all, I'm not going to tell you guys the current, I guess, workings, because he could very well watch this and I don't have time for any more games. I already say enough. I already say way too much. But this part, to be honest, I would love it if he heard. I would love it if he heard this perspective, because he needs some fucking help. At this point, oh man. It's like I'm wrestling right now in real time, if you're not noticing, with the pity and compassion I have, because you have to be so fucking miserable to do all this. There's no way that there's joy in your heart. And why? Like, why? Go and be free with your new girl in your house and pretending to play family with my baby. Like, go and have fun. Enjoy love. But also, I don't really have space for this compassion, because do better. Quite honestly, do better, my boy. Do better. So anyways, I wanted to come on here and say this, because I don't think people understand how tragic the justice system is, how tragic divorce is. I mean, people know, but this level, I didn't even fucking know. You know, I've seen it, but experiencing it is altogether different. And the frequency with which this happens is nauseating. The realities that the court doesn't really give a shit if you guys can't parent together. Unless there is blood, nobody's showing up. Which is why things have to go to such extreme. The amount of self-control that I have in this situation is only God-given. Like, I don't even understand how I've been able to exist in this way and truly just not implode or explode, you know? I probably would be more likely to implode on myself than explode on him. But either way, not having done either of those things is a testament to the God I serve, is a testament to how strong he made me. But also, it is a challenge every day, every second of every day. And the fact that I've been able to process this in the midst of it, the fact that I've been able to encounter other people in these situations prior to me actually experiencing it, so that I had some kind of understanding of what it takes to persevere through it. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. And again, I can feel my village. I can feel that energy revving up. And it's comforting, because I know that God sent them. I know he sent his army to protect me in this way, because who the fuck else could it be, you know? And I'm so grateful, but that doesn't mean that I am, you know, confident or happy about, you know, where this thing might be headed. I'm definitely going to update you guys on, you know, the shit that's happening right now once I'm through it. I don't know what the other side is going to look like, if I'm going to, you know, things are going to go well for me or poorly. I do feel pretty hopeful. I do have the faith to believe that things are going to go in the way that they should. I mean, I can't help but cheer for right to prevail. And I honestly do believe that I'm on the side of right. Unless I'm just as delusional as he is. But anyways, this shit is terrible. And one more thing. One of the questions, the first and second question that I have been asked by every police officer I've talked to in regards to the situation is, were you guys married? And were you married at the time that your child was born? Answer for us is yes. Yes to both. That changes everything. I've said on here before, when a woman and a man are not married at the time of that child's birth, that man has no rights. And most of the time, it's unfortunate because the woman exploits that fact and refuses to allow him access or whatever, the right to be a father. In my case, however, as the woman in the situation, as the woman that is the less emotional, the more level-headed, the more reasonable one, woo, how I wish I was not married to that man when I had that baby. So much so that the trauma this has produced is, what you're not going to catch me doing is having a baby in wedlock, because I can't trust a nigga to be this crazy anymore. I will never deny a man the right to see his child unless he's harmful to her. So I have no intention of denying my ex custody even. Not like, I am absolutely okay with my daughter seeing him just as much as she sees me. 50-50 is great. However, you acting a goddamn ass and trying to refuse me the right to see my daughter, that's a whole other story. And it's unfortunate because I was so excited to be able to work together and to be able to give our daughter the best life possible as co-parents. Like I saw us going places. Like, yes, we finna be on family trips separate. You know, I was like excited, and all that shit has crashed to the ground now. And it's unfortunate because it doesn't have to be that way. If it weren't for yo crazy ass. But anyways, y'all, this is definitely a somber time for me, definitely a difficult time for me, and very uncertain time because I have no idea how things are going to go. But I'm going to keep on fighting for what's right. I'm going to keep on trying to maintain my composure, as frustrated and furious as that makes him. It's also how I keep my peace. And dealing with a narcissist that is constantly looking to rile you up and throw you to the wolves just to watch you, flip around and just starve. I refuse to give you that. I refuse to give him that. Joy and peace is it's so amazing. And I'm so lucky. I'm so grateful that my peace, my joy, my happiness has never been contingent upon that nigga. Never been contingent upon somebody else. It's literally based on myself, Now, I will say he's had a hand in affecting that lately, because depression is absolutely real, and having to go through this insane type of, basically torture does take a toll. But like I said, I'm built different. And so as much as he's trying, good Lord, he's trying so hard. He has to be exhausted. I'm going to be okay. And I know that's going to make him so mad, so mad, so mad. Anyways, guys, I can't wait to hear feedback on this. I can't wait to hear the other people that have dealt with this. And I would love to hear the women that deal with this, because I know my ex is a character, but I know he's not the only one. I know I'm not the only mom that is struggling with a narcissistic ex-husband. I know I'm not the only woman that's dealing with a narcissistic ex-husband that left her, and the lengths that they will go to keep you bound. Word needs to get out. The justice system, I understand why it's difficult to get in the middle of family affairs, but there has to be a way when somebody is literally just bucking the system to wreak havoc on themselves, on their co-parent, on their families, because of whatever emotional bend they're in. That's it, y'all. I'll be back shortly, hopefully to talk about the shit that I actually was planning to talk about before my life imploded again. But anyways, as always, thank you guys so much for listening to me. Thank you so much for being my free therapy. This vent session was helpful, and it's really nice to get it off my chest, because it feels so terrible to know that people don't realize all the crazy shit that actually happens in the world. Not that everybody needs to be, cast down with all the pains of this world, but just being aware, being aware. Before you marry that nigga, before you had that baby, think about it. Find out what type of dude that is, Hindsight's 2020. Anyways, if you guys are on social media, please check me out at ALXSS. That's ISS_Alexis. No E, no I, double S. And if you listen to podcasts, check me out anywhere that podcasts are found at LexTLK. That's LexTLK. Can't wait to see you guys in another episode. All right, bye. Whew. Y'all.